If I could come 2 minutes late sometimes, I can come a minute early. Good, blessed, I think Wednesday morning. I hope you're doing well. I've been so locked in lately, and I woke up today feeling under the weather, and it sort of humbled me from an emotional perspective and a physical perspective, an overall system perspective to remember that some days hurt because physically you're ill. So if this reaches you today, I hope that you're feeling well. I hope that you're healthy. And I hope you're having a good day for your life because any day is a good day, right? Let's get busy. Warning, you are entering a live conscious war zone. This session may trigger reward loop malfunctions, emotional heat signatures, and identity withdrawal symptoms. You may experience dopamine disruption, psychological friction, unscheduled divine clarity. If systems persist, don't ignore them, don't soothe them, submit to them. Welcome to Raw 4 Epoch 2, day 92. You didn't join the stream. You stepped into the seal of remembrance. Today we discuss the silent operator. The silent operator. Move without announcement. Build without applause. Here's something that is usually almost always possibly true. The loudest person in the room is usually the one not ready. Real power does not need attention. It doesn't have to post about it. Doesn't have to announce itself. You know how we do here. It moves. And the more quiet your movement becomes, the louder your results get. This is a beautifully massive topic for me. I'm going to get into how we normally get into things here, but please consider the possibility of this. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the thing God whispered to you, and God whispers to us all. It is our root, it is our calling. You don't need permission to build. And if you're still looking for applause, you are not executing. You are auditioning. Every time you overshare, without a doubt, you weaken your system. Without compromise, you weaken your system. Every time you leak your vision early, you give people the opportunity to critique something they were never qualified to carry. Only you know what your root is. Only you understand it. Today is about silence, not as punishment, but as protection. Not as punishment, as protection. Let's get into our concept overview. The silent operator. Move without announcement, build without applause. Let me check the chat real quick. 4:03 on a day of the week in space and time. Move without announcement, build without applause. Validation is the drug that ruins divine instruction. Silence is how you build with root, not the algorithm. Amongst many other things, talking too early puts your blueprints in others' hands. A real operator, a real creator, somebody who is about it, doesn't speak until the result is undeniable. The root doesn't require sound, it requires obedience. Now, There's a universal law around this. There's also an emotional reality I don't think we often consider when it comes to this. There's also levels of consciousness. We're going to get into a visual metaphor, but I wanted to emphasize this. There's this, you can look this up, you can fact check me. When you release what it is you're talking about, because of the way consciousness works, your conscious will interpret it as a completed loop, as if you have already completed the cycle, as if you have already closed the deal. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to go work out and lose 50 pounds and be, on the cover of whatever magazine. I'm going to start this business and it's going to be the greatest business ever. I'm going to be the greatest influencer of all time. When you leak these things, consciousness sees it and gives yourself sort of first of all, it's a dopamine hit. It's addicting. You don't realize it. If you stop to reflect, this is why silence is so important. You can likely realize that you've done this over and over and over and over and over. It doesn't happen literally every day, but it's very likely you get into this rhythm and pattern. Why? Because that's the way your system works. So there's a truth to the fact that when you're feeling a little bit down and out, you might bring yourself to a massive rush and a massive high to say, I'm going to go. That's usually how it works, right? Think about it. You've had a bad day, a week, month, whatever, a bad situation. Eventually, you find a high and you're like, I can do this. You convince yourself you're going to do something that you haven't done. You think about all the things you've been thinking about doing, and then you say it to somebody because it feels natural, and then boom, that releases a rush, a chemical rush. Dopamine's a chemical. You get addicted to it, and then your mind and your consciousness says, oh, look, it's like we did it already. And you release it, and it feels complete, and so you don't make a move. That's your move. Your move is now just to speak and not move. But here we go about silence. Because I think in the manifestation process, I believe in it. And I also believe in consciousness. You shouldn't do it for that reason. But here's something that we don't often get into in great detail. Consider that you are vomiting all your ideas and getting high off of it. What's also occurring is you are releasing your own accountability measures. If you don't sit with yourself long enough in silence, or you don't become silenced long enough to understand what happens, you become your own critique. You hold yourself accountable. It sounds cliche and cheesy and corny, like elementary, but there's an emotional aspect to this that we overlook. You telling your best friend, who usually is always going to tell you what you want to hear. Most relationships, people don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't. They say they're going to keep it really real and raw, but they hold themselves back a little bit because we're human. I don't want you to tell me that you're going on this weight loss journey, and in my head, I'm like, yo, this is like the 9th time she's told me this, or he's told me this in the last 6 months. He hasn't done nothing. We think we want to say that. We think we have that level of honesty. We don't. We think we say no more than we should, or at least we use it effectively. We don't. Anyway, becoming a silent operator means you have to hold yourself accountable, means you have to critique yourself. It also means you have to find your own solutions to your own problems. That's a lot of what we do in relationships too. I'm going to tell this person this thing. They're going to tell me what I want to hear. Maybe they'll give me some advice, which is not beneficial for you from the perspective of they are not you. So even if they're doing the same thing you're doing, it's different because it's them, not you. And they may have found little nuances that work for them. It may not work for you. You haven't found your nuances. That's my point of contention with influence these days. Somebody is telling you what to do based on what they found out to do, based on their own route, based on their own system. It's not to suggest that they don't have a format and a frequency and a flow that you can apply, because a lot of it is just structurally the same. But it's not for you because it's not you. And you wouldn't know that because you haven't sat with yourself long enough to teach yourself how you like to feel about doing things. You haven't taught yourself enough to go through the emotional process, the highs and the lows, and talk yourself through it by yourself. Very, very hard to do, because then you find yourself in the middle of nowhere by yourself, with yourself, and you're like, yo, what am I doing? It's natural to question yourself. That part of it gets hard. Anyway, I wanted to make sure I got that across. I don't know if I said it the way I wanted to, but Think about it. Rewind it if you have to. Here's a visual metaphor. Excuse me. Picture a bridge built in the middle of the night. No headlines, no ribbon cutting ceremony, just welders, concrete, blueprints, and silence. Section by section, bolt by bolt. You're driving by every day and you see nothing. Then one day, the road is open, traffic is moving, and people have no idea how many nights it took or how many times it almost collapsed. The friction, the difficulty, the storms, the starts, the stops. That's how transformation works. If it is built right, they don't see the work, only the shift. That's really powerful. I'm going to give you some personal perspective. I had to learn this too, but it's my favorite thing to do now. Now, also, in truth and reality, I don't remember the exact day I learned to stay quiet, but I do remember the feeling, right? It was an instinct, a natural instinct. Don't tell them, just do it. At first, and this goes back to how I was birthed into culture, it was about protection, right? Where I grew up, how I grew up, silence was, or it was not actually a personality trait. It was sort of like armor. If they didn't know what you were doing, they couldn't stop it, right? Or steal it or shame it. Also, snitches get all those kinds of things where I'm from. You just kept quiet. But it turned into something deeper. I'm telling you, I love it. I love it. The quiet space where nobody's clapping, but everything is moving. No one ever needed to know. No one needed to understand. It was mine. From, I don't know, maybe it was my grandfather, man. But that's almost like a street code, right? And that instinct stayed with me even when I got into the boardrooms. Even when I started rising, even when I had access. But here's something that happened that sort of punched me in the face. It had to shake me, right? One of my mentors, high-level executive, he came to me one day when I was rising and moving, and he said, yo, you're moving loud like nobody's watching, but they are. Just because you don't know them doesn't mean they don't know you, and that changed everything, right? I realized silence isn't just protection, it's also power. And when I forgot that, because it's very easy to forget it when you're making moves or getting wins, right? I paid for it. At that point in my life, I was trying to build a team. It was the first time I was building a team professionally. So I thought transparency was big. Transparency was trust. So I shared my vision with them. But in hindsight, because everything is 2020 in hindsight, they weren't ready and they didn't hold it sacred. They leaked everything I was trying to protect. Not because they were malicious, but here's the reality. It's not everybody else's fault. I should have kept my mouth shut. I spoke too soon. That's the really real. That naturally taught me. Just because something's true doesn't mean it's time. Even my own transformation, when I turned into cliche Jeff, I had to stay quiet, right? Stop drinking. I didn't say none to nobody. Started waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Didn't say none to nobody. Dropped 60 pounds in 2 months. Yo, when I was walking outside, people were looking at me like I was sick. Yo, you all right? They didn't understand, but that's also the power in it. That's the beauty of it. They weren't supposed to. It's my business. Because when you move in silence, your results become the noise. I learned, and I knew it. Not everything had to be posted. Not every breakthrough needs to be shared. And not everyone needs to be brought into the room. You got to understand, this is all occurring while you're still becoming who you are. Some things are just between you, your breath, and the root, your God, your universe, your creator. your life. Let's tie this in with God and faith. If you consider some of the most divine moves, especially in text, ever made, it was done without a single word. Moses, he did not shout when he split the sea. He raised his hand and it just opened up. Jesus, excuse me, I'm sorry. He didn't narrate the resurrection. He just walked out. The universe doesn't post reels about the sun rising, but it still rises every single day, on time, every time. God, root, source, universe doesn't need you and your noise to be powerful, and neither do you. Consider what we're talking about, because there are consequences. And before we go into the consequence section, let me check the chat. Where you at 4:15 on a, what is it? Is it Wednesday? Here's the consequences. If you do not move in silence, you'll start narrating more than you're doing. A lot of you are out there doing that, talking and no action. You'll be addicted to posting your progress and allergic to finishing anything. You'll keep sharing what's coming because the likes feel better than the work. You'll build in public and crumble under the pressure of being seen before you're ready. You know who's always watching? You. You'll invite people into the process only to watch them exit with your ideas in their mouth. You'll confuse visibility with value. You'll chase applause instead of outcomes. Some of you are celebrating a half a win. What are you doing? You'll talk your vision to death and still wonder why nothing manifested. You'll lose your peace trying to stay relevant. You'll skip obedience because feedback feels better than silence. I'm telling you. Worst of all, you'll keep hearing that quiet voice. The one that told you to stay hidden just a little bit longer. But you'll ignore it because someone on Instagram or on your social media profile left a fire emoji. Do you understand what we're talking about today? No one is going to feel better about your success than you. And I'm telling you, as somebody who is just like you, has a wonderful, small little family who I believe cares about me more than I could ever care about myself. No one is going to care more than you. No one cares as much as you. And while you're telling them something, they're thinking about what they need to do for themselves anyway. Do you understand the word self-centered? People are only in the center of themselves. As you are talking, most people are thinking about what it means for them. I promise you. And then also, pay attention to how when you're telling somebody you want to do something great, they're probably going to tell you how they want to do something great because it triggers them to think they have to do something great too. Or if they're not telling you they're doing great, it's not about them enough. It's not worth it. And the lack of oh, you get a lot of that. Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's great. That's awesome. That's dope. Yeah, you know. Watch the difference when you call them to tell them it didn't work out. They're all in it. Oh my God, what happened? They want the drama. They want the gossip. They want to see that you failed. Most people want to see that you failed more than they want to see that you won. Why? It's not that personal because most people aren't winning themselves. I don't want to go off on a tangent. The other day I was watching and I try not to critique myself. I'm trying not to be too harsh and too opinionated, but you got to pay attention to what you're doing to yourself. There is the benefit of vomiting everything you want to do is like minuscule. Do the research and don't just research online or some other influencer. Do the research of your life. Go back in the memory of your life, get into remembrance, and remember a time when you told somebody you were going to do what you said you were going to do, and you didn't do it, and how it worked out for you. Q2 of a new year, April, whatever, I think it's 2nd. Go back to this year. What did you say you were going to do What did you party about? On December 31st, you were, oh, hey, oh, New Year. And then you woke up on like January 5th because it took you a week to recover. You made one little step, and here you are, April 2nd, same place, same time, doing the same thing. And you were always going to be in the same place, same time, doing the same thing. The difference is you're not doing what you said you were going to do. But somebody will hit you with another 100-day challenge or 30-day challenge or a quick pill that says this will fix you. Be right where you are. Excuse me. Which is trying to figure out what you want to tell the world you're going to do without doing it. Have you not learned, too, that the biggest and loudest telling of what you're doing is when people see that you've done it? Completion speaks. Completion speaks. Look, I did it. How do I know? Because they're watching you. They see it. All right, let's talk about how to take ownership. How to take ownership and become a silent operator. Kill the commentary. Do this. Find the last text, DM, or story where you shared your next move. Not to get help, but to get noticed. That's another thing. You're telling people what you're going to do, and you're not even trying to get help. You're just trying to vomit your ego. Not to get help, but to get noticed. Find that text, delete it. Delete it. Not because it was wrong, but because you gave away sacred construction for a cheap moment of relevance. It's a quick high. It's a cheap high. And if it hurts you to hear this and read that, that's the part of you that's addicted to visibility. Did it hit you in your chest? Did it make you uncomfortable? Do you want to punch me in the face right now? That's how you know it's true. That's not me. That's you. The second thing you can do is cut your favorite announcement channel. Whatever space you use to subtly update, IG stories, Slack check-ins, long-winded conversations that sound like strategy, group texts, silence it. All you're doing in there is saying you're going to do something. You haven't moved. Silence it. Do that for 72 hours. No previews, no getting ready, no accountability check-ins, none of that. If you have to tell the world you're building, you're not building, you are buffering. You're glitching. And as you are telling them you are building, what are you doing? Nothing. You're vomiting. Diarrhea of the mouth. That's time you could be using to really be doing something. And then finish one. This is the third thing you could do. Finish one thing without telling a soul. Like pick something, anything, a task, a rep, a page, a commitment. Start it and finish it. Get up when you said you were going to get up. Oh my Lordy, Jesus Christ. Pick a commitment, start it, and finish it. What did you say you were going to do? Do it. Go take that walk. Go write the page in the book. Go journal. Put together something. And don't tell a single person until it is done. No dopamine from being in progress. Some of you are still in progress for your entire life. Just silence. And the quiet satisfaction of knowing you can execute without applause. That is the new metric. Can you move without echo? I told you that I've been doing this for the entirety of my life. I didn't understand the power of it in ways that I can explain and describe until I was able to mature like anybody else in life. Wisdom comes, right? 43 years old. But I knew this, man, if the block told me anything, and I can continue to share this with you, there's no benefit in people knowing what you're doing. There is no benefit. And if you want to talk about seduction and you want to talk about real empowerment, I don't know how else to say it than to keep saying it this way. I love moving and nobody knows I'm moving. I love having it in my head and seeing everything I'm doing and having a conversation with somebody and they're telling me what they're doing And I'm embracing it. Go ahead. Yeah, do your thing, pimp. You know what I mean, my G? Do your thing, do your thing, do your thing. And in my head, I'm just like, ooh, I'm just making manifest everything I need, and nobody knows. Nobody knows. Every promotion, nobody knew. Built my house, nobody knew. Changed zip codes, nobody knew. Stretched my salary, nobody knew. Raw at 4, nobody knew. I promise you, my relationship with God, nobody knew. And then in that way too, it's dope. Yo, when the less people know about you, the more they presume to know about you. There's also an influence, if you want to use influence to your advantage. People like to talk so much and hear themselves talk so much. If you can listen in silence, you teach yourself and train yourself silence, people will also start to think that you're the best person in the world to talk to. They'll be like, oh my God, Jeff's such a great conversationalist. What did he tell you? Nothing. I just listened to you vomit for an hour. Now, there's also a reality that if the conversation is not bi-directional and reciprocal, you should probably cut that person off. Like to just listen to them talking. Some people are like that. No, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. But you learn a lot about people. Where you're learning about people, you're the same way. You have the same functions, the same system parameters. It's just who has trained it more or less. So eventually, that person that talks to you for hours and hours and hours without letting you get a word in, you got to cut that person off. They're wasting too much of your time. And then secondly, people will love you more for just listening. Why? People just want to vomit what they're doing. And then you can also see it. Listen, use that. Pay attention to how many people you know that keep telling you they're going to do what they're going to do, and they too themselves don't do it. Not to judge, to measure. That's data. All right. Here's a daily challenge in our ARR format. Audit, replace, report. Starting with the audit. What's the last move you talked about before you took it? Now be honest, all the way honest with yourself. Was that really strategy? Was it strategy? Or was it just a sneak preview to stay relevant? And then again, audit your DMs, your text threads, or your Slack logs. How many half-executed ideas live in there? That is not communication. That's leaking sacred energy for applause. If your work has to be witnessed to feel real, you are not executing, you are performing. Life is a stage. You're always on stage. You're always dead in the center. Are you executing or are you performing? Does somebody still have you on puppet strings? Replace. Pick one move you were planning to post about. And kill the post. Kill the convo. Kill the update. Replace it. We are in replace mode. Replace it with a rep. Replace it with stillness. Replace it with something only God, the root, the source, the universe, or your breath can witness. Then ask yourself this. If no one ever sees it, would you still finish it? If not, it wasn't a calling. It was content. It was self-centered ego. Then we report on it. We're in our April challenge, April system reset, day 2. I stopped sharing what? Fill in the blank with the move you silenced. No disclaimers, no applause bait, just proof that you moved in the dark. Because in April, we don't preview power. We let results show up without introduction. Own the system or be erased by it. This ain't just day 2. This is the moment you stop narrating your resurrection. Forget all the people, man. Forget them. They'll be there. Let them think you disappeared. Let them wonder. Let them scroll past your silence while you become someone that they don't recognize anymore. It's a beautiful thing. You don't owe anyone your blueprint. You owe the root, your source, God, your obedience. No post, no preview, just pressure and proof. Where's your receipts? You either run the system, or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.